So, welcome to the podcast, Dan from the Chicago Highlanders. Dan, how are you, man?
Hi, Rab. I'm doing well. Thanks again for taking the time. I know that you got a lot of things going on in the show there, so do appreciate you taking the time for us.
No, not at all. If anything, this interview has been a little bit in the making because we've been so crazy busy over World's Week and everything. It's just taking a bit of time to catch up with you. So, I finally get the chance to talk to you. So, it's brilliant to catch up with you. So, for folks who don't know who you are or who the Chicago Highlanders are, then do you want to give a little bit of an introduction as to who you are?
Yeah, absolutely. So a little bit about me. I mean, I've been a piper for about 10 years, but my inspiration came from my father, who was a Milwaukee police officer and was a piper there in the Billy Mitchell Scottish pipe band, who's still in existence.
Mm-hmm.
And he joined that band with a fellow officer and piped for a few years. So I grew up with it. I've got a picture in my pipe case of standing next to my father with his pipes, and he's got like some crazy old white jacket on that no one would wear nowadays. But he gave it up to raise a family and just had a busy life. And when he retired a few years back, my sister let me know that he was piping again. I was like, wow, unexpected. And so I told my wife that if anybody ever wanted to get me a birthday gift, Father's Day, something like that, that I'd like a practice chanter. And so not too long after that, that one showed up. And I started, it sat around for a while. And then I Googled for lessons in the area and found the Chicago Highlanders. And one thing about their website stuck with me, and that's that they were giving free lessons to interested and conscientious individuals. And to me, that meant you needed to show up and put in the time.
Mm-hmm.
So I went into it knowing that. And uh, so I've been with the band about 10 years now and became the band manager, I don't know, maybe 5 years ago, something like that. And so now I'm in charge of booking gigs and maintaining the website and doing social media and things like that.
Yeah, all that fun stuff then, Dan. Yeah, you get all the glamorous jobs. Yeah.
Yeah, when people ask me if I want to lead a set, I just I book gigs and maintain the website. I'm not I'm not a pipe major, but yeah. So the Chicago Highlanders have been around for 100 years now, and we actually share that anniversary with another Chicago band, the Chicago Stockyard Kilties, who have a common root band. And then after a few years, there was a sponsorship that was involved, like with the Curtis Candy Company. We were the Curtis Kilties for a while, and then at some point long ago, and none of us were around, there was a split in the band, and they became the Kilties, and we're the Highlanders. But we try to maintain a cordial relationship with them. As a matter of fact, at the recent Waukesha games that have been in the news. Normally, a high grade band would be the duty band for the day and lead the mass bands in Amazing Grace, but the Highlanders and the Kilties stepped forward at mass bands and led everyone in Amazing Grace in recognition of our centennial anniversary.
Oh, fantastic. Well, if anything, that brings me on to what I want to be chatting to you about, Dan. 100 years for a band to be together, even here in the UK, that is uncommon. We have a few bands in the UK that are 100 years plus. For you guys, celebrating a centenary is bound to be something special. So, what are you guys doing to help mark the occasion?
Yeah, well, COVID's gotten in the way, as you can
Yeah.
imagine, a little bit, but we started talking about it at least 3 years ago. There's a local brewery called the Pollyanna Brewing Company that one of our pipers went to school with the founder. And so we met with him about 3 years ago and talked about brewing a beer for us, like a centennial ale or something like that. We really
Nice.
didn't have a fully formed idea at that time, but he was receptive, and so we talked about it, and then that plan just kind of got put on the shelf until the right time. But then, COVID came along, and we were uncertain whether we would be able to have any kind of celebration. But that's going forward. They're not actually going to brew a beer for us, but they are going to do a private label crowler, which is a 32-ounce can. And so in a couple weeks, that's going to go online on their website for pre-ordering. and we're having a centennial party at one of the Pollyanna locations here right outside of Chicago. And you'll be able to pick up your crawler, and we're going to have a party, and we're going to try and make it less like a traditional concert and more like a celebration of the 100 years.
Well, that sounds like all sorts of fun. So, about the band itself, then you guys are obviously you're a competing band playing in grade four at the moment. Throughout the history of the band, have you ever made the trip over to the UK to compete at any games here?
Yeah, so before my time, but I think it was 2010 that the Highlanders did make it over and competed
Mhm.
at the Worlds. There's no one still in the band that made that trip over. So as you can imagine, details are kind of scarce sometimes.
Yeah.
There were a lot of things on our website when I took that over that talked about like us being the oldest band in the states, and I kind of did some fact checking on that, and not entirely sure that's a claim that's 100% accurate. So I try to remove things like that. But
Yeah.
yeah, we have made it over to Scotland, and the band was. Originally formed by some Scottish immigrant brothers. And one of them is I think it's the great grandfather of Jim Sim, who you interviewed last
Oh,
week.
really? No, but hey, there you go. It's a small world.
Yeah, exactly.
So, Dan, tell us about the makeup of the band then. How many folks have you got in the ranks?
So when I joined the band, there were over 40 people in the band. We had a huge
Wow,
drum
really?
corps. Yeah,
Hmm.
and over time, like many bands, we suffered from people leaving to raise families,
Yeah.
jobs, moving away. People left to go to other bands. We even had a pipe major who passed away a few years ago.
Oh,
So there
really?
were some
Yeah.
there were some rehearsals that we went to where there was like five of us, and we were wondering if we would make it to our 100 year.
Hmm.
But the band, like many bands, is made up of a good cross section of. We have an aircraft mechanic and a pilot who's a student now. We have a retired firefighter, an active fire chief, a nurse. Myself, I'm an IT professional. One of our lead drummer is actually the drumming instructor up at St. John's, where the Highland Games were held last weekend.
Hmm.
So good cross section of people, and we're a pretty close knit group. We do a lot of charity gigs and bar gigs and things like that, in addition to doing competitions, and we enjoy each other's company outside of the pipe band setting.
There you are. And if anything, that does count for a lot as well, Dan, because you can all play beside each other in the competition circle. That's one thing, but you have to be able to get on with each other as well,
Yeah, yeah,
So
absolutely.
the big social element then is part of your makeup, then, really. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Definitely. Um, Some of the other things we've done for the Centennial, like we've had patches made. You see the logo in the corner of my Zoom background there.
Hmm.
We had some patches made for our bags and some stickers made with that same logo. We've got some beer can koozies that we'll be giving away at our party coming up in October. But one of the cooler things is that our pipe major Anita wrote a tune called the Centennial March, and
Oh,
we played that in our recent competition at the Waukesha Highland Games.
there you are. Fantastic. We'll have to get a little listen to that. Now, I'll have to dig out that clip, actually. And by the magic of editing, I shall drop it in at this point, I think. Yeah. So there you go. How did you find Waukesha then? We were chatting to Jim last week on the pod, and he was saying that the event overall was pretty much a success, and you guys actually being there and competing at it. How did you find it?
I thought it was great. I really enjoy going to the Highland Games. I'm the type of person that I enjoy the competition sets. I enjoy practicing for that. That makes me a better piper.
Mm,
But I'm not one of the people that's too competitive, like win or lose. I just enjoy being there on the day, and that was double for this year. I arrived early in the morning and just listening to soloists, tuning up, just hearing pipe music all around.
yeah.
Like, oh, I know that tune, I know that tune. I can see that guy over there, I know him. How did you do today? It was really great.
That's
Um,
it.
re-
Jim even
Really appreciate.
he spoke about that as well. Just standing in like the parking lot, and you were able to hear the noise of people tuning up and stuff. Even hearing that after so long of being in lockdown, it's honestly something special, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. Jim is great. He's done a great job. I know that one of the other things that he's responsible for here in the Midwest Pipe Band Association is the concert formation for the
Oh yeah, yeah.
grades 3 and 2 for their medley sets at the Chicago games. That's gone over really well, I think, with the bands and the spectators. I have friends outside of piping that I've brought to pipe band competitions, and on the way home, I'll say, "Wow, what did you think of that?" And I've heard the comment more than once that why do the bands march in and then turn their backs to the
See,
to the crowd?
yeah, I've been saying that too on the show, man.
Yeah. Well, I think anybody who's in the pipe band world realizes that there's a practical reason for the circle, and that's
Yeah.
so that you can watch the pipe major's foot and watch each other's fingers and kind of
Mm,
glance around the circle and just have some situational awareness, make sure you know what's going on.
that's it.
So it's
Yeah.
I think there's a good practical reason for it, and I enjoy playing in the circle.
No, that's it. And it's almost traditional. We've been doing it now for so long. I dare say it'll not change too quickly. But hey, I'm not going to start singing the praises of MWPBA again because this will be the second podcast doing
Hmm.
that. But honestly, they are
Hmm.
forward looking. I think for sure. Yeah. Exciting times ahead. So speaking of the future and stuff, then,
Yeah,
Dan, what does the
absolutely.
future hold for yourselves then at the Chicago Highlanders?
Well, actually, this has been a really great year for us. It really truly has. Like over the last few years, we have doubled down on students and recruiting. We've made flyers. Like all bands do this, but
Mm,
you meet with just such marginal success. I've run. We did a pub crawl a few years ago, and we put ads on a Celtic radio show here in the Chicago area, and
mm-hmm.
I could see that when those ads ran, our website traffic went up. But the
Oh,
pub
excellent.
crawl, which was just for recruiting, just to hand out flyers, was not very well attended, and I was personally a little bit disappointed because I put a lot of work into it. But right now, I've got two students myself, and one of them is a young man. He's 11 years old, and his younger brother is taking drum lessons with us. We've got a couple of other youngsters. One that's working on tenor drum, another piping student, and we've got people across the age spectrum. And this year, we've actually voted 5 new pipers into the band. So things
Oh,
are
brilliant.
looking up. It's been it's we've been fortunate that despite the COVID and all the disappointments of the last couple of years, that our numbers are starting to turn around in a positive direction. So
There you
really
go.
appreciate that.
Oh, that's fantastic to hear. And hi, I hope you guys continue to build on every strength for sure. Do you know, piping and drumming, what I'm hearing in the Midwest in the US, it definitely seems to be thriving at the moment. So, hi, I wish you every success. It's fantastic news. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, Dan, on to yourself then personally. We've heard how you get into piping and all the rest, but always we have some big rap show staples that we ask everyone who comes on the show, and you're not going to escape either. So, yeah, of course, I have to ask you, what's your favorite cheese, Dan?
I'm prepared for that one. Yeah, I'm actually from Wisconsin originally, and
Oh, I see.
that's the dairy state here in the U.S. And
Mm-hmm.
I like lots of cheeses, and I do like to try different esoteric cheeses from time to time. But I keep coming
Very
back to
good.
cheddar. Cheddar is definitely my
You can't
favorite.
beat a good sharp cheddar. Definitely.
Mhm.
Yep. And also, then throughout your history in piping, from when you first started, can you say that there's been any one moment that you thought, wow, that's quite special?
Yeah, as a member of the Highlanders, I've had a lot of really good opportunities. We've played at the Chicago Bulls on center court for at the
Whoa.
United Center here in
Yeah.
Chicago for St. Patrick's Day. Arlington Racecourse is a horse racing track that's
Yeah.
nearby
Yeah.
us here. We played there a number of times. It's kind of cool to see yourself on the big
The big
screen
screen.
playing Amazing Grace. That's kind of cool. Um, we've had opportunities to meet some minor celebrities at golf outings and things like that.
Nice.
Um, I don't know. I think there's really too many to pick one. We've played at 9/11 ceremonies and
Mm.
um, uh, funerals for fallen officers and things like that.
Yeah.
As a band and me personally, we really try to get involved with community things. We play for a lot of charity runs and walks and things like that. So I don't
Yeah.
think I have one. I think just being in this community and making someone's day a little bit better by playing
There you
some pipe
go.
music is
Yeah.
that's what I enjoy the most.
That's a fantastic answer. There you go. Normally we ask that question and it's like, oh, I won the worlds in 19 whatever, and or my daughter lifted the worlds. So no, to get an answer like that, honestly, it kind of just kind of shows me that how important actually playing is, and that's one of our focus here on the show. We're trying to get people back playing again after a pandemic. So, have you found like any kind of a downturn, from your own membership of guys who just kicked the pipes onto the bed and forgot all about them, or are they continuing to play throughout all of the madness?
Yeah, we we continued to play through COVID.
Mm,
There were a couple of months where at the beginning of it, we were cautious. We started doing some Zoom practices, but then spring came. We started with outdoor practices, and we're socially distant, and
mm,
but no one among our ranks knew anybody that got sick or anything. So we kind of continued with that. But then there
mm.
was actually one member of our band who was hospitalized because of COVID, and
Oh
we kind of
goodness.
talked among ourselves and went back into a
Mm,
little bit of isolation. And then so we've been on and off, but we've maintained somewhat of a regular practice schedule. The gigs were definitely down last year. We
yeah,
maintain a
yeah.
fairly busy schedule, and last year was a bit slow, but it's starting to come back.
Oh, fantastic. Well, hi, we're building for bigger and better things, and I hope to see you guys going from strength to strength in 2022 for sure. So, for more information, then, and for anyone who's actually interested in taking up the challenge of playing, you guys obviously are still recruiting. So, where can people go and check you guys out?
So we actually have two websites. We have the original ChicagoHighlanders.org, which was our website when I took over managing it, and I created a new website, kind of a more modern look at centennial.chicagohighlanders.org. Both
Oh,
are up right now, but we're migrating like music storage, and our email list is managed on the old website. So I need to finish moving some things over, but before the end of this year, it'll just be chicagohighlanders.org. So if you head there,
there you
you'll
are.
you'll find it. Our
And of
Facebook
course,
page is also a
I was
good
just going
place
to
to
say
find
you're
us.
you're
Yep,
all over
right.
social media, so yeah, you
Yeah,
can definitely catch you guys there. So Dan, thank you so much for taking time to chat to us here on the Big Rab Show. We really appreciate you taking the time, and congratulations on 100 years.
thank you so much. Really appreciate it.